everyone. I'm Kate Kennedy, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today to have a little chat with Amy Camp. So, Amy is no stranger to Kane. She has been here before a few years ago to speak to some of our boards and is coming back this Thursday and Friday to help us all understand more about being a trail friendly community. Amy currently lives in Pittsburgh. She is the founder of Cycle Forward, and she's the author of the book Deciding on Trails: Seven Practices for Healthy Trail Towns. And just to reiterate, she will be here Thursday and Friday to chat with us and to interact with us about how we can be the best community for having a trail as we can be. So, hi,
Hi, Kate. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited you're here. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to coming up to Kane soon.
I know it's going to be a beautiful weekend too, I think. So let's just get right into this then. I wanted to give people a chance to get to know you a little bit before you come spend time with us. So, how long have you been doing trail tourism and placemaking?
So it's been a while. I started to dabble in tourism and placemaking when I was in grad school, and that was around 2000, 2001. And I remember at the time, through an internship and through my coursework, looking into, regional tourism assets, studying the unique needs of Appalachia and regional communities, and even just in getting ready for this visit, I was remembering feeling disappointed whenever the Kinzo Viaduct collapsed, because I hadn't yet had a chance to see it in its previous form. So I've been thinking about and working on tourism and placemaking for a little while now, and was able, after I finished school at that time, to sort of convert that into what's become my career. Um,
Tell us a little bit. Cycle Forward is your business. How did you get there, and tell us about Cycle Forward?
Okay, great. So I'll start with how I got to this place, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Cycle Forward. But after I finished school, I entered really what was a career in community development. I was working in Pittsburgh in the South Side neighborhood, marketing the neighborhood. So I was, doing events and promotions and trying to get more people in to enjoy the community. And from there, I went on to work with a program called Trailtown Program, which was a multi-community, multi-state community development and economic development initiative, in which the trail, the Great Allegheny Passage, was the asset that was connecting all of these communities. So I basically went from working in an urban setting doing community development to working in a more rural setting, also doing community development, but it was the trail, and trail tourism was became the focus. And so I worked there for a number of years before starting my practice.
Interesting that a trail is the connection between urban and rural. Because sometimes people think of those as so separate, but there you have experience that the trail connects everybody, really.
Yeah, it really does, and that's something that I really love about trails is that trails are connectors, really quite literally. But just taking the Great Allegheny Passage as that example, it goes from Pittsburgh to Cumberland, so it's connecting two cities, but in between are rural and suburban communities that are there, to be discovered by people who are visiting, but more importantly, the trail brings opportunity to local people who live in those communities. And so I was able to take what I learned through my jobs in community development and my work with the Trailtown program and establish Cycle Forward. And Cycle Forward, I started in 2013. So next month, actually, I'll be coming up on my 10-year anniversary. And yes, thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it's any business that can be in business for 10 years. I know from my experience it's worth celebrating. So but Cycle Forward is my one woman consulting firm. I've been at it, like I said, for about a decade. And really, what I do is I work with trail organizations and trail communities, helping communities to find ways to better connect to their trails, and to provide the right kinds of services that trail users can use to be more ready for trail related tourism, and to celebrate their trails as assets, and that are good for local people as well, which to me is more important than the tourism piece. Both matter, but having a local culture that celebrates and invests in trails really goes a long way. So that's the kind of work that I do with Cycle Forward.
One of the things I love and appreciate about you and your work and why I'm so excited you're coming is that your focus and your heart really is for the residents and for the people who are able to enjoy the trails on the daily. I would love, again, the idea of bringing visitors in. So I
Mhm.
really appreciate that you want to encourage and help us celebrate the trails and best too. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think what happens sometimes people are disappointed to hear that, that the tourism and the economic piece are not front and center, in my view, that they shouldn't be. But what happens is if you have a trail economy or an outdoor economy without a local appreciation for trails in the outdoors, that there's just something missing. I think that that culture really is the scaffolding that holds up the economy and makes it possible that that economy can sustain over time. So I think that local culture and local benefit is really critical for more than one reason.
That is great. And you kind of mentioned this already, but what is it that you love about trails?
Ah, trails. So I did say that they were connectors, but something else that I think I would call out is one of the things that I often say is that those of us that work in trails, we're not in the business of building and maintaining trails. We're in the business of providing experiences. And of course, we do have to build and maintain trails, but it's that experience piece that is what really matters. I mean, using trails can open up a person's world. Just personally speaking, I love that connection to nature and being outside in nature, and usually a trail is what takes me to those kind of natural spaces. And so there are any number of reasons that trails are good for us. They're good for our health and wellness. They're good for local economies. They we go outside, and we have like a physiological response to being in nature, our like measurable response. We're calmer, we're more creative. So yeah, I love trails for all sorts of reasons, and I love it whenever there's a direct connection to communities, and they can help to connect communities to each other also.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I like what you said about experiences because honestly, everyone that goes on a trail has their own experience. So it might not be the same for everyone, but if we can make it so it's a space where people can have any kind of experience, that is a win. So that's a
Yeah.
really neat way of looking at it.
Mm.
Well, you and me and Mayor Shimp have been talking about our hopes for your time here. We've been planning and getting things ready. What are your goals or hopes for your time with us later this week?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to generating some enthusiasm around trails and cycling tourism as well. Not that trails are just about cycling, but I know that that's a unique opportunity, that some of your trails provide. So I'm excited about generating that enthusiasm, sharing some ideas from other places. I do this kind of work like all over the country, and just like bringing in ideas from other places, as well as other Pennsylvania communities. I think I mentioned to you yesterday when we were talking that so much of what I do in workshops and presentations is I just float ideas and show pictures and share what's happening in other communities, and people can choose to grab whatever catches their attention and might be locally appropriate. So I'm excited to get some of those ideas out there and to spark a conversation, and have people sharing ideas with each other, and talking about next steps in Kane and also in your neighboring communities.
Absolutely. And one of the things that has been really important for you to communicate to us is that this is going to be interactive. It's not going to
Mhm.
be you up there just standing and talking for a couple of hours, but you're really going to engage the participants in the workshop so that it's really meaningful to each person again with their own experiences, their own takeaways, and they'll have a part to contribute.
Yeah, it's going to be a totally interactive workshop. We're going to start with, of course, introductions and such, and we're going to do a small group activity where we have people considering, what their hopes are for their community, what is an ideal community to them. I'm going to do some presenting on trail towns and trail culture and best practices for communities. I'll be pulling the best practices from my book, of course. And then we're going to break out into groups and talk about best practices. We're going to have people choose a practice that's of interest to them, whether that's knowing your market or better connecting trail to town or communities sharing their story. These are the kinds of things that we're going to have people go out and talk about in groups and think about what are some things we can do here, in this practice area. And then of course we're going to be, oh, by the way, we'll have another guest speaker or two. We're going to have the staff of the PA Route 6 Alliance talk about their bicycle friendly community program. And we're going to use the assessment form that they use for their program just to think about bicycle friendliness in your area. And we're not going to end the workshop without talking about next steps. So we're really going to take a look at what are some next steps that can be done, some easy things and maybe some more difficult things that take more time and planning. But we want to make sure we end the workshop by thinking about what comes next.
That's awesome. And so it's on Friday, 8 a.m. to noon. Lunch is included in that. And so there'll be opportunities for people to ask specific questions to you after, like over lunch, if anything comes up for them there. And we're also going to get a chance to hang out with you on Thursday night, doing like a renovated, revised business after hours at the Kane Manor. So Amy will be speaking about 5:15 to 5:45-ish at the Manor, and then we'll have a cornhole competition afterwards. So if you're interested in learning more about that, just let us know and we can get you that information. But to register for Friday, just so we can kind of have an idea how many people are going to show up, you can go on our Facebook page, Kane Area Development Center, and click the link and sign up easy, free again. Thanks to the borough, the chamber, and avid trail lover and user Judy Cook and Ron. Thank you to them and for making this possible. So please do try to sign up. But if you don't sign up, you can still show up. We just want to make sure that the information is getting out there for everyone to use. Will you be available for sale, Amy, when you're here?
Yeah, my book will be available. I'll have copies with me. And yeah, thanks for asking about that. I'll make sure to bring some.
Because I know there's a couple copies floating around town, but I'm sure
Yeah.
people will want to have their own copy here after they hear from you. And then I want to ask you one more thing about that, but I guess I'll just ask you on Thursday and Friday. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we wrap up?
Yeah. First of all, I'm looking for a cornhole partner for Thursday. So I make no promises about being any good at cornhole, but yeah, I'm looking for a partner. And as for both Thursday and Friday, I just want to say I'm excited to get back to Kane. Whenever I was last in Kane, I really was impressed by the people who are in the community trying to affect change. And I think, community change and improvement always comes down to the people. And I go certain places where I can tell, the people in this community are really going to do something. And Kane was one of those places, most
Oh,
sincerely. I'm also excited to check out the Pennsylvania Trail of the Year. So I'll be
yeah,
riding a portion of the Knox and Kane Trail whenever I'm in town. So looking forward to seeing you, Kate, and to seeing everybody else.
great to have you. And if you guys have any questions, Amy, either write them in the comments and we can make sure she addresses them when she's here, or hold on to them for when you see her in person. And so just Amy, thanks for your time now. Thanks for taking the time to come up later this week. And I can't wait for you to meet our community, but also really just want to give a shout out to our trail, our local trail community here, Tamed, the Trail Association of the Elk McKean Divide. They have done phenomenal work and I'm excited. I know they're looking forward to meeting you and I'm excited for you to get to have some conversations with them as well as others in the community. So thank you again and we will be seeing you soon.
Sounds good, Kate. Thanks.
Safe travels.
All right. Thank you.